Among the more captivating and controversial ideas to emerge from alternative history and pseudo-archaeology is the Anunnaki Gold Theory, a belief that a group of extraterrestrial beings known as the Anunnaki came to Earth in ancient times, not merely to observe humanity or help civilization develop, but to mine one specific resource: gold. This theory, popularized by author Zecharia Sitchin in his books such as The 12th Planet, merges ancient Mesopotamian mythology with speculative interpretations of archaeology, linguistics, and astrophysics. At its core lies a profound question: were humanity's earliest gods actually alien miners in search of Earth's most precious metal? Gold has held a sacred, almost divine status across ancient civilizations, from the Egyptians and Sumerians to the Incas and Chinese. Often associated with the sun, immortality, and the gods, gold was never merely a medium of trade. It was seen as a divine substance. In ancient Egypt, for instance, gold was considered the flesh of the gods, especially the sun god Ra. In Mesoamerican cultures, it was thought to be the sweat of the sun. These symbolic associations beg the question: why did nearly all ancient mythologies revere gold so profoundly, even in cases where it served no practical function within their economies or daily life? Some scholars argue that the reverence was purely symbolic, but proponents of the Anunnaki Gold Theory believe this widespread gold worship points to something more tangible: a real physical need for the substance, possibly instilled by beings not of this earth. According to this theory, the reason myths across the globe speak of gods desiring gold is not metaphorical, but literal. The gods needed gold, and they needed it from Earth. Zecharia Sitchin's groundbreaking work centers around his controversial translations of ancient Sumerian cuneiform tablets, particularly those referencing the Anunnaki, a group of deities in Mesopotamian mythology often associated with creation and judgment. According to mainstream academia, the Anunnaki were mythological figures who played roles in cosmology and kingship rituals. However, Sitchin proposed an alternative reading, that the Anunnaki were not mythological beings, but alien visitors from a distant planet called Nibiru, which supposedly enters the inner solar system every 3,600 years in a long elliptical orbit. Sitchin claimed that the Anunnaki's home planet was suffering from environmental degradation, a weakening atmosphere that required particulate gold suspended in its stratosphere to reflect sunlight and preserve planetary temperatures. Earth, being rich in gold, became their mining outpost. The Anunnaki, according to Sitchin, arrived approximately 450,000 years ago and began mining operations, first by themselves and later through the genetic engineering of Homo erectus into a new species, Homo sapiens, the modern human. This creation of humanity, he argued, is encoded in the mythological texts, particularly in the Epic of Atrahasis and the Enuma Elish, which describe gods creating humans from clay mixed with the blood or essence of a god. One of the most speculative yet central claims of the theory is that gold had a specific, functional use, not for jewelry or status, but for environmental survival. Gold is not only rare, but possesses extraordinary properties. It doesn't corrode, is highly malleable, conducts electricity with extreme efficiency, and reflects infrared radiation. In modern aerospace technology, NASA uses gold-coated film to protect spacecraft and satellites from radiation and heat. Could this reflect a universal application? If intelligent extraterrestrials had advanced technology similar to or greater than ours, it's plausible they discovered these uses of gold long before humans did. The idea that gold could be dispersed into a planet's atmosphere as a reflective shield, creating a protective layer, sounds outlandish, but parallels modern geoengineering proposals aimed at combating climate change through aerosol dispersion. Sitchin's theory leans on this technological rationale, that gold was necessary to repair or maintain Nibiru's atmosphere. Since gold is chemically inert, it can remain stable in extreme conditions, making it the perfect candidate for such a planetary-scale technological need. Critics counter that there's no known method to effectively disperse gold in such a way, or that doing so would be resource efficient. But supporters argue that our understanding of alien science could be vastly inferior. According to ancient Sumerian myths, particularly the Epic of Atrahasis, there was a time when the lower-ranking gods, the Igigi, were tasked with laborious work, including digging canals and tending to Earth's lands. Eventually, they rebelled against the higher gods, refusing to do the hard work any longer. To resolve the crisis, the chief god Enki proposed the creation of a new being to serve the gods, humans. Sitchin believed this myth was a veiled account of the Anunnaki using genetic engineering to merge their DNA with that of Earth's primitive hominins. This story resonates with other creation myths worldwide. The Bible speaks of Adam being formed from clay, much like Sumerian accounts. Ancient Egyptian myths speak of the god Khnum shaping humans on a potter's wheel. Mesoamerican texts tell of gods creating people from corn or mud. Could all these traditions be misunderstood references to bioengineering events, filtered through mythic storytelling? The Anunnaki Gold Theory sees these stories not as allegories, but as encoded history, misunderstood accounts of real events involving advanced beings tampering with human evolution. Another intriguing piece of the puzzle involves the discovery of what some claim are ancient gold mines in southern Africa, specifically in modern-day Zimbabwe and South Africa. Researcher Michael Tellinger has promoted the idea that these mines, some of which date back over 100,000 years, could be evidence of Anunnaki activity. Though mainstream archaeologists explain these sites as early human settlements or naturally occurring structures, their sheer age and unusual patterns have led alternative theorists to speculate otherwise. Tellinger and others claim that these mines line up with Sitchin's Abzu, the ancient Sumerian name for the deep earth or underground place associated with Enki's domain. Could these ancient African gold mines be remnants of a prehistoric industrial operation conducted by non-human visitors? There is no definitive evidence to support this claim, but the mystery surrounding the age and purpose of these mines continues to stoke speculation. Despite its popularity in alternative history circles, the Anunnaki Gold Theory has been roundly criticized by mainstream scientists, archaeologists, and historians. Linguists argue that Sitchin's translations of Sumerian texts are deeply flawed, and there is no actual mention in any ancient Mesopotamian tablet of Nibiru being a planet or the Anunnaki being extraterrestrial in origin. The Sumerians, critics assert, had a mythological worldview, not a scientific or interplanetary one. Furthermore, the idea of Nibiru as a rogue planet has not been substantiated by any astronomical data. While NASA scientists have speculated about hypothetical Planet 9 bodies in the outer solar system, these are unrelated to the cyclical and catastrophic Nibiru described by Sitchin. Skeptics also point out that the technological claims, such as the use of gold to fix atmospheres or the ability to travel interstellar distances, are based more on science fiction than science. For many academics, the theory falls into the realm of pseudo-history, where speculative connections are drawn between unrelated myths and misinterpreted data. Regardless of academic acceptance, the Anunnaki Gold Theory has had a substantial cultural impact. It has inspired countless books, YouTube documentaries, fictional films, and even elements of modern conspiracy lore. From shows like Ancient Aliens to the video game Assassin's Creed, the idea that ancient gods were actually aliens has become a mainstay of speculative entertainment. For many, the appeal lies not just in the mystery, but in the possibility that our origins are more complex, and perhaps more cosmic, than we've been taught. In some ways, the theory speaks to a deep yearning, the desire to understand where we come from, why we are here, and whether our past has been forgotten or deliberately obscured. Even if one dismisses the Anunnaki as myth, the questions raised about advanced knowledge in ancient times, unexplained artifacts, and cross-cultural similarities in creation stories remain worthy of exploration. The Anunnaki Gold Theory sits at the intersection of ancient myth, speculative science, and unorthodox archaeology. While its central claims, alien gold miners, human genetic engineering, and planetary repair operations, stretch the boundaries of accepted history, they continue to capture the imagination. Whether one sees it as a metaphorical interpretation of spiritual truths, a misreading of ancient texts, or a literal forgotten history, the theory challenges us to reconsider the narrow boundaries of what we accept as possible. For some, the Anunnaki represent ancient humanity's attempt to grapple with the mysteries of life through stories and gods. For others, they are real, ancient astronauts who once came to Earth for gold and left behind a legacy encoded in stone, myth, and memory. Until conclusive evidence emerges one way or another, the mystery of the Anunnaki and their golden quest remains open to interpretation, a cosmic riddle from the depths of time.